Charlene Spengler, you knew him. You were his neighbor. You were in his house. You looked at his art collection. You walked dogs with him. Is he crazy?
No. Clark is strictly, in the criminologist terminology, I'd say he's a second-story man.
What does that mean? Don't talk in those fancy terms. Just tell me what it means.
What that means is, what did he do? He got over on one woman, Sandy Boss, who kept him in splendor for 14 years.
But he put one over on you. You thought he was Clark Rockefeller.
I didn't care. He could have told me he was Napoleon. You'd be anyone you want.
But don't you think most people sort of think that? They don't really care. Nobody enters into new relationships in a prosecutorial manner. I mean, that's not true. Some people do, but not everybody.
Again, I knew him for 2 years before he told me his last name, so by the time he did tell me his last name, I really didn't care. It was insignificant.
So tell me about the art collection, by the way. This is something that's really been sort of getting in my craw.
Oh.
That's a Texas expression, by the way. You know, he fancied himself the owner of upwards of $1 billion worth of art, and he had a lot of people come through his apartment, parties and museum curators. You yourself curated some art shows. A famous artist came over there with you to ogle his beautiful artworks, but they were fakes.
How about that?
No, you tell me, sister.
Well, there was the $12 million Mondrian that was small and that was encased in plastic. There were the large Clifford still paintings on the wall that his English setter Yeats used to fling saliva on. That was always...
Oh, I hate when that happens.
That was amusing. There was the giant Jackson Pollock that he claimed he had inherited.
But did they not, I mean, why didn't these people who were cognoscentes in this area know that they were fakes? Look, I don't have an eye for art, but
because
those people did.
It wasn't the context for that type of speculation. It wasn't, you know, you were not going to be buying this painting. You were allegedly in the home of a Rockefeller, a couple of blocks away from the Museum of Modern Art, which his ancestors established.
With Auntie Blanchette, right? Didn't you say my Auntie Blanchette gave me this art? She started some cute little museum on 53rd and 54th.
Yes, how about that?
So wait a second, though. His apartment, I got to get to break real quick, but his apartment is a one-bedroom?
I never knew what it was because you were invited into this one sitting area.
Oh, got it.
And there were doors. Now, I guarantee you behind those doors it was probably perfect chaos.
Yeah, or like, you know, a little bathroom closet for a bedroom and living space. So, but again, here again, one of those paintings is worth $12 million. The rest of them untold millions. But you're sitting in that real estate? Did anybody say, what are you doing, dude? Why don't you have a townhouse up on, you know, 740 Park? Nobody asked? Charlene, this is crazy. I would have asked that.
No, but when he did tell me he was buying the house in Cornish, New Hampshire, he said he was buying it to influence the presidential elections. And I looked at him and I said, well, that's not going to work unless you put LSD in the hors d'oeuvres.
Yes, I agree. That could have worked. That actually, don't give people ideas, my friend. Stand by for 1 second. We always like to get our audience in on this as well, and we do that by means of the 13th juror question. As crazy as it is, I really like that driver, and I can see myself in the same situation. Hey, Charlene, when you hear that, and make this real quick, I only have 10 seconds to break, but did Clark Rockefeller you knew, was he capable of doing this?
He's capable of anything.
Really?
Oh, yes.
No question in your mind?
Oh, he is a living, believe it or not, exhibition.
Oh, my goodness. All right, well, we've got 11 hours and 14 minutes on the jury watch clock, and I sure appreciate you coming in to tell us your story. I'm glad you didn't get taken for a whole bunch of money.
No.
Charlene Spengler, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.
Question of the day today, of course, the wife the long-suffering wife, Sandra Boss, spent 12 years with this guy, never knew who he was. And then he allegedly tried to steal their child and squandered all of her money. So if you were Snook's mom, would you ever speak to your ex again? Don't forget, they do share this child. CNN.com/crime is the place to go. Click on open court, have your say. Don't swear, spell things right, and if you do all those things and you're clever and pithy, we just might read your response on the air. We're back right after this.